So thank you for joining us and sharing your experiences with this evening, Patrick.
It's a pleasure.
So let's start off with just you giving us a bit of background and tell us about your experience and your roles at Virgin.
So before I joined Virgin, I was actually an investment banker for 10 years at, you're all too young to remember a bank called Warburgs. And at the end of that, I was involved with the company that Warburgs and Virgin had invested in to build the Channel Tunnel rail link. And when I finished doing that, Virgin said, why don't you come and work for us? So that was about 25 years ago. So the first thing I did for Virgin is I bought all the new rolling stock, actually in this building, on this floor, bizarrely.
Really?
Yeah, it's coming back in. For the West Coast Main Line, did the West Coast Main Line upgrade, PUG 2, which actually was what caused rail track to go broke and become Network Rail. So that's where I started, which was a pretty hard job, to be honest with you. And then after that, did lots of other things. So set up an airline in Australia that took 35% of the Aussie air market after Ansett went broke. We IPO'd Virgin Mobile US. I was on the board of Virgin Money, which acquired Northern Rock and IPO'd for about 10 years. Also set up Trainline, was chairman of Trainline at Virgin Trains. And then you'll all know about Virgin Galactic and Virgin Orbit. So pretty amazing journey, good fun, but all good things have to come to an end.
Great. So you've been involved with an incredible 7 businesses that have become unicorns.
Well, actually, you had OneWeb up at $1 billion, so 8.
8? Right.
I'm not sure how you quite get OneWeb to $1 billion valuation. Money got into it, maybe not valuation, but if you include OneWeb, it's actually 8.
So that includes 3 space businesses then.
Yeah.
So tell us about what the differences are between building a space business versus building a non-space business.
Well, going back to my rail days, the good thing about space is you don't have Network Rail. So putting trains, high-speed tilting trains on Victorian infrastructure is about, I'm not kidding you, it's about as hard as it gets and harder than space. I think the difference between space and other bits, there's loads of similarities. So James and I were up seeing ICEYE yesterday. Amazing company, amazing guys. And that whole transition going from start-up through to getting bigger, bringing new people in, different skills in, raising money, IPOing or whatever, is incredibly hard transitions to go through. So that's what I've been through a lot at Virgin in terms of, sort of the 2 people sit around a table like this, come up with the idea through to let's go to the NASDAQ or LSE and float it. That's a hell of a journey to go through. So that's all those growing pains, coming up with a proposition, refreshing the proposition that consumers are actually going to buy, all really, really simple. Similar. In terms of the main difference with space, I mean, at Virgin, what we typically try to do is outsource. So, Virgin Trains, we didn't own the trains, we didn't own the track, thank God. We didn't own the stations, same with Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Mobile was a purely virtual operator. We, all over the world, different operators, we leased the network. And actually with Virgin Galactic, we tried to do that to begin with, so we outsourced the building of Spaceship 2, White Knight 2, and propulsion to 2 different companies, SNC and Scale Composites. And after quite a long time, we decided to take that in-house, and that made a big difference. So that was one big difference. Virgin is not typically someone who goes and hires hundreds of engineers and makes stuff happen. We typically tend to outsource that, but Virgin Orbit and Virgin Galactic were the opposite of that. And I think the main reason for that is because they were not mature. Well, they weren't mature products, they were new products, so no one really knew how to do it. And unless you're waking up in the morning thinking, this is what's going to change my life today, I'm going to make it happen, you tend to get pretty second-rate performance, and that's why we took it in-house and built our own teams who literally, that was their single point of focus to make that happen, and that made a big difference. So I guess that's the big difference.
Yeah, it's quite a difference then, isn't it? So you played a key role in agreeing the Virgin Orbit launch from Spaceport in Cornwall.
Hasn't quite happened yet.
So how important to the UK space economy is this launch?
I mean, in isolation, not very important. I mean, it's the UK is, I hasten to add, not paying very much money for this launch. And we had this time last year, we had Boris down, should I say the Prime Minister, down to Cornwall as part of G7, and we showed him Virgin Orbit and the launch, and his first reaction is, where do the people go? So persuade him it wasn't quite about people. But my final line to him was, we spent over $1 billion on this, you can launch for 6 million. And there's an existing airport, there's a 25-year-old plane there. It's all, it's very sustainable. It's using existing and old assets, and for $6 million you can launch into space. Now, the other key thing on this is it is cheaper to ship a satellite to LA, Long Beach, where Virgin Orbit operates out of, than bring a rocket over. So whatever anybody, and I spend loads of time with UKSA and DFT and all that kind of stuff, you cannot make a launch cheaper or the same price in the UK as the US. So you're paying more, and why are you paying more? The reason you're paying more and why it's so important is because this is just going to open up the eyes of the UK in terms of what can happen with space. I think one of my frustrations and the opportunity, I think, for space in the UK is people don't really understand what can be done. I mean, I think, James, you were talking about data, applications, and not having to be a rocket engineer, not having to design satellites, which people can do, and we're very good at here, but working out what are the applications, what we can use, and growing that industry in the UK, I just think is a massive opportunity. And I think the launch from Cornwall, hopefully, and I'm going down to see a bunch of school kids next month to talk to them about that and hopefully inspire them in terms of, you can do this, you can use space, and you don't need to be an engineer to do it. You can go and, save fish, or you can make a tractor drive better, or you can, there's so many different things you can do. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, I think it's going to be a sort of a rallying call to get people to realise that space is unbelievably exciting, and the UK has got a huge role to play in that.
Okay, so next of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about leaving Virgin and why you've joined Seraphim as a venture partner?
So I needed a break. Leaving Virgin. Why did I leave Virgin? Well, I've done almost 25 years. 7, 8 companies that have gone on to billion-dollar valuations. I've also done a lot of not-for-profit stuff as well. I helped set up Virgin Unite. I was chairman of that for 10 years. I set up our sustainability activities. And I sort of, I could have stayed at Virgin. I could have done another company. I was on the board of Virgin Hyperloop, which will take a bit longer to get there, but I think it will get there one day. And it was sort of, I joking, but I did need a bit of a rest because working for Richard is unbelievably intense. I mean, it's amazing, it's exciting, but it's not easy. So I went part-time about 3 years ago, had a bit of fun, still did Virgin Orbit, recapitalised Virgin Active, so I was still pretty busy, but thought about what I wanted to do, and so I could have done the sort of, the PLC route. Wasn't that excited by that because I've done the governance stuff. It's not really what gets me out of bed in the morning. So I thought about, what do I want to do? I want to do, small, at the outset, fast-growing companies that are going to make a real difference to the world in a positive way, and you guys turned up. So
great.
So
well, we're thrilled to
you tick the box. And so far, I mean, I've been out to see 4 of them. Ansie's there, John's here as well. I mean, it's ticking the box in terms of making me sort of it's just opening. Every time I go. Yesterday I was up in Helsinki. It's just amazing going around and seeing what ICEYE are doing, and the same when you go around Satellite View. It's just incredible to see what's happening and what the potential is. So.
Yeah, well, as we know, space tech is key to addressing some of the world's biggest problems. So, from your experience, what's happening right now in space that investors in this room might not know about?
From a not-for-profit perspective, or bizarrely, this time of year, last year I knew nothing about it, but I've got into, because of space and what space can do, I'm actually spending quite a lot of time on oceans and seaweed. Which I never did. Literally this time last year I knew nothing about. I met the Seaspiracy guys at G7, took them up to see Virgin Orbit, and they said, look, it's unbelievable what you can do with satellites. And I've found out also, one, the oceans, and it's International Ocean Day today, by the way, are a total mess, but the opportunity to sort them out and help climate is probably, seaweed is apparently 30 times more effective than the rainforest at eating carbon. The opportunity is unbelievable. And space and satellites, and one of the launches, I don't think it's on the first launch now, the second launch is going to be a sat called KernoSat, which is the G7 Legacy project, which looks at seagrass development off the southwest of England. So the opportunities for that and the difference it can make to the world are amazing. If anybody wants to talk seaweed, come and talk to me later. So.
Great, okay. So last question. So tell us what you're most looking forward to in terms of working with the Seraphim portfolio.
More of the same, to be honest with you, what I've done in the last couple of months. I read this thing a long time ago in The Economist about, it was a really simple article, when you retire, you lose touch with young people. You pop down the golf club, you sort of talk about your health issues and stuff like that. I'm not quite ready for that. So being relevant, doing stuff that's exciting, meeting young people who are doing amazing stuff, and and older people as well, but particularly, so, there are young people, old people, there are a lot of young people working in these companies. They're doing amazing stuff in a positive way. So I just want to do more of that, basically, and make a positive difference to the world. And sort of, and using Richard's mantra, you do good by making money. So.
Well, amen to that.